All right, so are you ready to dive deep into the world of Dr. Seuss's The Grinch?
I'm ready.
We're going beyond the surface level of this Christmas classic today,
Okay.
with some fascinating excerpts from an article that really gets into the Grinch's origins and motivations. So why does this green guy hate Christmas so much?
Right.
And is he really as bad as he seems?
It's interesting how the Grinch has become such an iconic holiday figure.
Yeah.
Even though he's famous for, well, trying to ruin the holidays. There's a real paradox there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And it's a paradox that seems to have captivated audiences for generations.
Mm-hmm.
But Dr. Seuss never explicitly explains why the Grinch hates Christmas so much, does he?
No.
That always struck me as curious.
You're right. He leaves it open to interpretation,
Yeah.
which is part of what makes the story so intriguing.
Right.
The article mentions a few possible reasons for the Grinch's grumpiness.
Okay.
Some see him as a symbol of resistance against the commercialization of holidays.
So like a countercultural icon for those who feel overwhelmed by the holiday hype.
Exactly.
That's an interesting take.
But others see him as a more tragic figure,
Okay.
someone struggling with loneliness and alienation.
Okay.
Perhaps his hatred of Christmas is really a projection of his own inner turmoil.
So his grumpiness isn't really about the presents or the decorations,
Right.
but about something deeper,
Yeah,
something he's maybe not even fully aware of.
precisely.
Yeah.
And that brings us to another fascinating aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Dr. Seuss didn't write a direct sequel,
Right.
there have been attempts to continue the Grinch's story and flesh out his backstory.
Right.
The most notable example is the 2000 film,
Yeah.
which shows us a young Grinch who was bullied and heartbroken.
Yeah.
It certainly adds another dimension to his character.
Yeah, it's hard not to feel a little sympathy for the Grinch after seeing that backstory.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't excuse his actions, of course,
Right.
but it does make his bitterness a bit more understandable.
That's a great point. The film doesn't condone his behavior,
Right.
but it does humanize him.
Yeah.
It suggests that his heart might be 2 sizes too small because of what he's experienced,
Right.
not because he's inherently bad.
Which makes his eventual transformation all the more powerful, right?
Absolutely.
Because it suggests that anyone,
Yeah.
even someone who seems set in their grumpy ways,
Mhm.
can change and find redemption.
The film, despite adding that backstory,
Right.
doesn't stray too far from the core message of Dr. Seuss's original story.
Okay.
It still emphasizes the idea that even the Grinchiest of hearts can grow and learn the true meaning of Christmas.
Speaking of Dr. Seuss, let's talk about the man behind this iconic tale.
Okay.
It's fascinating that his real name was Theodore Seuss Geisel.
Right.
Not exactly a name that rolls off the tongue.
No, it's not.
But he definitely created a world of words that captured the imaginations of millions.
He revolutionized children's literature,
Yeah.
blending humor, social commentary, and
Yeah.
heartwarming messages in a way that no one had done before.
And that's so evident in The Grinch, isn't it?
Yes.
There's the obvious humor with the rhymes and the Grinch's antics,
Mm-hmm.
but there's also that deeper layer of social commentary about the commercialization of Christmas.
That's right.
Yeah.
The article mentions that Dr. Seuss himself was frustrated with the increasing focus on material possessions during the holidays. It's almost as if The Grinch is a satire of that greed and excess, a way for Dr. Seuss to poke fun at the absurdity of it all.
It's brilliant, really.
It is.
He takes this seemingly simple children's story
Yeah.
and uses it to make a point about something that's relevant not just at Christmas, but all year round.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's a testament to his genius that the story resonates with people of all ages and backgrounds.
Right.
It speaks to something universal about our relationship to material things and the true meaning of happiness.
Now, thinking about how this story has been brought to life visually,
Okay.
it's amazing to consider the range of styles we've seen. We've got the simplicity of Dr. Seuss's original illustrations.
Yes.
The almost fantastical realism of the 2000 film.
Right.
And then the smooth, modern animation of the 2018 version.
Yeah.
Each one offers its own unique perspective on Whoville and the Grinch himself.
It's a fascinating evolution.
Yeah.
Each adaptation reflects the visual style of its time,
Right.
while still capturing the essence of Dr. Seuss's creation.
And they also expand on the story in different ways. The 2000 film, for instance, added that whole backstory for the Grinch,
Right.
giving him more depth and making him, dare I say, a bit more relatable.
Yeah.
But even with those additions, the core themes of redemption and the power of love shine through.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's interesting how these adaptations, while taking creative liberties, ultimately return to those core messages that made Dr. Seuss's original story so powerful.
And that's something we'll definitely delve deeper into as we continue our deep dive.
All right.
But for now, let's shift gears a bit and focus on the Grinch's transformation. What is it about the Who's reaction to his grand theft Christmas plan that ultimately leads him to change?
Right.
That's where we'll pick things up when we return.
Sounds good. Welcome back. Before we went on that tangent discussing adaptations and Dr. Seuss himself,
Right.
you were about to explain to us what about the Who's reaction to the Grinch's attempt to steal Christmas was so impactful.
Right. So as we all know, the Grinch goes to extreme lengths to steal every last bit of Christmas from Whoville, thinking he'll finally be rid of all that annoying holiday cheer.
Yeah.
But what's fascinating is that the Who's don't react with anger or despair.
Right.
They still come together and celebrate even without any presents or decorations.
It's such a powerful moment, and it really gets to the heart of what Dr. Seuss is trying to say about the true meaning of Christmas. Their joy isn't dependent on material things.
Right.
It comes from something much deeper,
Yeah.
something the Grinch completely missed.
It's like they embody that often overlooked idea that Christmas is about more than just stuff.
Yeah.
It's about community togetherness.
Right.
And celebrating the spirit of the season, regardless of external circumstances.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what ultimately breaks through the Grinch's cynicism. He sees their genuine happiness
Yeah.
and realizes that he's been going about things all wrong.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful illustration of how love and compassion can triumph over greed and bitterness.
And it's not just about receiving those things, but also about giving them.
Right.
The Grinch, in the end, returns all the stolen gifts and even helps the Who's celebrate.
Yeah.
He goes from being a Grinch who steals Christmas to a Grinch who actively participates in it.
Absolutely.
Talk about a transformation.
And that transformation speaks to something deeply resonant within us, the
Yeah.
idea of redemption. It suggests that no one is beyond hope, that even someone as seemingly bad as the Grinch can change and become a force for good in the world.
It's such a hopeful message, and it's something that seems to resonate with people of all ages. Why do you think that is?
Yeah.
Why do we still love this grumpy green guy who tries to steal Christmas even all these years later?
I think part of it is the humor.
Right.
Dr. Seuss was a master of creating these wacky rhyming stories that are just fun to read and watch. The
Yeah.
Grinch's antics, the Who's cheerful songs,
Right.
even the narrator's voice.
Yeah.
It all comes together to create this delightful and memorable experience.
Right. It's entertaining on a surface level,
Mm-hmm.
but then there's that deeper layer of social commentary and philosophical reflection, too.
Yeah.
He manages to entertain and make us think at the same time,
Right.
which is quite a feat.
Indeed. And the themes he explores are timeless and universal.
Okay.
The Grinch's story speaks to our need for connection,
Right.
our capacity for change, and the importance of valuing things that truly matter.
Yeah.
Themes that resonate with people regardless of their background or beliefs.
Okay, so we've talked about the themes, the humor, the enduring appeal. But what about the Grinch's legacy? How has he impacted pop culture beyond the original book?
He's become a true icon.
Right.
His image is instantly recognizable,
Yeah.
and his catchphrases like stink, stink, stunk, and maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store, are practically part of our collective vocabulary.
Yeah.
He's the ultimate Christmas curmudgeon,
Yeah.
but in a lovable way.
It's interesting how he's transcended the holiday itself and become this symbol of grumpiness in general.
Right.
People use his name as shorthand for anyone who's being a bit of a Scrooge,
Yeah.
regardless of the time of year.
It is fascinating, isn't it? And
Yeah.
I think it speaks to Dr. Seuss's ability to create characters that tap into something fundamental about the human experience. The Grinch represents that part of us that maybe wants to resist joy or festivity,
Right.
but ultimately can't help but be won over by the power of love and kindness.
Which brings us to another interesting point.
Okay.
The role of adaptations in keeping the Grinch's story alive and evolving.
Right.
We've touched on the 2000 film, the 2018 animation.
Yeah.
But there have been countless other interpretations over the years, stage productions, TV specials,
Yeah.
even video games.
Each adaptation brings something unique to the table,
Yeah.
highlighting different aspects of the story and introducing the Grinch to new generations. Some focusing more on the humor, others on the emotional depth. Some stay true to Dr. Seuss's original illustrations,
Yeah.
while others take creative liberties with the visuals. But they all, in their own way, reinforce those core messages about redemption,
Right.
community, and the true spirit of the holidays.
It's like an ongoing conversation that spans decades,
Yeah.
with each adaptation adding its own voice and perspective to the mix.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what keeps the Grinch's story so vibrant and relevant.
Right.
It's not just a static text, but a living entity that continues to evolve and speak to us in new and unexpected ways.
And that makes our deep dive all the more enriching.
Yeah.
It's not just about revisiting a familiar story,
Right.
but about exploring how it's been reinterpreted and how its meaning continues to resonate in our ever-changing world.
Oh, and how about you? But I'm feeling quite Grinchy after all this talk.
Me too.
In a good way, of course.
It's been a delight revisiting this classic tale and uncovering its hidden depths.
But I think it's time we wrap things up.
Yeah. Okay.
And leave our listener with some final thoughts to ponder.
Oh, right.
So let's shift our focus one last time
Okay.
and consider what the Grinch's story ultimately teaches us about ourselves and the world around us.
Right.
That's where we'll pick things up after a quick moment to gather our thoughts.
And we're back for the final part of our Grinch deep dive.
Right.
We've unpacked a lot about this iconic character,
Yeah.
from his mysterious origins
Right.
to his heartwarming transformation and his lasting impact on pop culture.
Yeah.
But as we wrap things up, I'm curious.
Okay.
What does it all mean for us?
What can we learn from the Grinch's journey that applies to our own lives, even beyond the holiday season?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've explored the different interpretations of the Grinch's motivations,
Right.
the satire of consumerism, the power of redemption,
Right.
and even the role of adaptations in keeping the story alive.
Yeah.
But at its core, I think the Grinch's story offers us a powerful reminder about the things that truly matter in life.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of the holidays, or even just the everyday grind, and lose sight of what's really important.
Yeah.
But the Grinch, in his own grumpy way,
Yeah.
helps us refocus.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think about it. The Who's, even after having everything stolen from them,
Right.
were still filled with joy because they had each other, their
Yeah.
sense of community, their love for one another.
Right.
That's what made Christmas special, not the presents or the decorations.
It's a powerful contrast to the Grinch, who had isolated himself on Mount Crumpet. Right.
Surrounded by stuff, but utterly alone.
Yeah.
It's almost like Dr. Seuss is saying that true happiness comes from connection, not consumption.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that message resonates with people on a deep level,
Right.
whether they celebrate Christmas or not. It's a universal human need to feel a sense of belonging,
Yeah.
to experience love and connection,
Right.
and to find meaning beyond material possessions.
So what does that mean for us listening in right now?
Right.
How can we apply those Grinchy lessons to our own lives?
Well, perhaps it's about making a conscious effort to nurture our relationships,
Okay.
to invest in our communities, and to cultivate a sense of gratitude for the people in our lives.
Right.
Maybe it's about choosing experiences over things,
Yeah.
prioritizing quality time with loved ones, or simply reaching out to someone who might be feeling isolated or alone.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's about remembering that the best gifts aren't the ones you find under a tree.
But the ones you give and receive through acts of kindness, compassion, and genuine connection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And those gifts, unlike material possessions, have the power to truly transform us.
Right.
Just like the Grinch's heart grew 3 sizes that day. We, too, have the capacity to open ourselves up to love, forgiveness, and generosity.
It's a beautiful message, and one that's worth carrying with us throughout the year. Maybe it's about channeling a bit of that Whoville spirit,
Yeah.
even when it's not Christmas time.
I think Dr. Seuss would wholeheartedly agree.
Right.
After all, the Grinch's story isn't just a holiday tale.
Right.
It's a timeless reminder about the power of human connection, the importance of choosing kindness,
Right.
and the transformative potential that exists within each of us.
And on that note, we've reached the end of our Grinch deep dive.
Right.
It's been a fascinating journey exploring the many layers of this iconic character and his enduring legacy.
Thank you for joining us on this exploration.
Yeah.
We hope it sparked some new insights and maybe even inspired you to embrace a bit of that Whoville spirit in your own life.
Remember, no matter how Grinchy you might be feeling, there's always a chance for your heart to grow a few sizes.
That's right.
So keep those hearts open, keep diving deep, and we'll see you on our next deep dive.
See you next time.